Welcome back to CBS This Morning. I'm Tony Dokoupil with Gayle King and Anthony Mason, and we begin with Americans voting today in state and local elections all around the country, and we are less than 1 year before the 2020 presidential election. On that subject, there are still concerns about foreign interference, like we saw in campaign 2016. The government's top election security official says that the threat has not gone away. Only on CBS This Morning, we met with Chris Krebs. He is the director of Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. That's part of the Department of Homeland Security, and it is in charge with something very simple and very important: protecting your vote.
This is the core of Homeland Security and national security right now.
It cuts to the heart of what America is.
You know, that's what I always say. It's not just that election security is national security, but fundamentally what we do here in this agency is ensuring that this experiment of our constitutional republic, it can continue forward.
Election night report.
Until recently, Chris Krebs was the head of cybersecurity policy for Microsoft. Now he's the top U.S. official responsible for protecting the vote. And he does it as head of an agency created after the 2016 election, when, according to investigators, Russian agents breached voter databases in at least 2 states, in addition to hacking and releasing emails from Democratic officials.
The Russians are continuing to try to destabilize our form of government and just our way of life in general.
They want to undermine democracy.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's kind of our planning factor. They're going to be back. They're trying to get into our heads. They're trying to hack our brains, so to speak, and ultimately have us lose faith in our processes. This is our collaboration space.
Krebs gave us rare access to a classified area he calls the watch floor, where teams constantly monitor for digital threats.
So on Election Day 2020, what will this look like?
We will have campaign officials. We will have state and local partners in here, intelligence community, Department of Defense, the Federal Bureau of Investigations. Everybody will be in here sharing information in real time.
Right now, the scenario that worries Krebs the most is a so-called ransomware attack targeting election offices.
What if somebody locked up a voter registration database a month in front of an election? Okay, what are our fallback positions?
You're gaming that out now.
Absolutely.
The Department of Homeland Security is working with thousands of local jurisdictions and all 50 states. And one of its top goals is making sure every digital vote is backed up with an old-fashioned paper record.
For the 2020 election, I think we're looking at about 92% of the votes in America will be cast associated with a paper ballot.
Not to be a cynic, but 92% still leaves millions of votes with no backup.
Yeah. That's absolutely correct. So that's why, again, I'll take every day we have between now and then, 2020, to continue improving the security of these systems out there.
As they secure the machinery that supports our elections,
I think it is critical that
they're also keeping an eye on the information that drives them. The feds have worked with social media platforms to counter misinformation, and they've published documents warning the public in simple terms about foreign interference.
It's textbook. You know, it's identify the divisive issue, get it out there, get people engaged, and then really start driving the wedge issues and splitting people apart.
How do you deal with a situation where the President of the United States is himself tweeting and retweeting conspiracy theories, potential misinformation, in some cases unverified accounts that Twitter later takes down? And in the case of his son, the Mueller report found that he retweeted a Russian operative. So what do you do, your mission to clean up disinformation and misinformation online, when some of the figures promoting that are tied to the President of the United States or are the President himself?
Yeah, so, you know, the President has obviously a very high-profile Twitter presence. We operate in a different space at a different level. We're in the security space. The President's Twitter account and what he says stands on its own. What we need to be able to do is provide every American, a foundation where they can discern on their own whether that's legitimate or not.
So even though President Trump has sometimes cast doubt on Russia's interference in 2016, the Trump administration, the government writ large, is prepared for Russia, North Korea, China, Iran in 2020.
Look, I've gotten all the direction from the White House I need. As far as I understand, coming straight from the Oval, make sure that election security is a priority and protect the 2020 election.
Very important work. Although foreign hackers accessed some election systems in 2016, no votes were altered. at least as far as we know. And we also asked Krebs if they might have just been casing the joint to come back in 2020 and cause real damage. And he says that's something he does worry about, but he worries about everything.
He's got a lot to worry about.
He's got a lot to worry about. He says the last 10 years of his life, it's felt like the hardest 10 years of his life, even though it's only been 2 in the job. But one of the bits of good news is the paper backups. So if someone claims that a machine was tampered with, votes go haywire, all the battleground states will have a paper backup, he says, in 2020. So you'll be able to verify the vote, and that's a big deal.
But as you point out, that 8% that's not backed up is a significant number in a close election.
But everybody's watching. That's the good news, that everybody's watching, everybody's paying attention. And certainly more to come on this.
Yeah, indeed. CBSThisMorning.com has much more of our interview with Chris Krebs, including his take on Facebook and Twitter's efforts to fight misinformation on those websites.